We've all said the phrase, "that's just who I am." It could have been out of defense. Maybe it was you trying to assert or insist on something that you've always believed in yourself. But what if that belief and that statement in itself is the thing that is limiting you? What if every time that you say, "that's just who I am," you're actually closing the door on what your potential is? If you're new here, I'm Sarah, and I created this channel to give you everyday practical ways to master yourself and build the best version of your life that you could possibly dream of through self-mastery and spirituality. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe. So here's the thing. From childhood, we are conditioned to define ourselves. Like if I sat here and asked you right now, what are 3 words you would use to describe yourself? Put it in the comments. You can come up with stuff. You could probably come up with a laundry list of things that you can use to describe yourself. I'm shy, I'm bad at math, I'm not creative, I'm the black sheep of the family, I'm not successful, I'm a people pleaser, I'm not that type of person. Like the list just goes on and on and on. Also, sorry about the noise. There's literally one of those like dump truck things in the neighbor, but there's just nowhere else for me to go, so sorry. So the thing is as we're growing up and putting these labels on ourselves and allowing other people to put these labels on us, it's more of a survival mechanism. So when we're young, they really help us to kind of find our place in the world and where is it that we fit into the world. And ultimately, like the subconscious aspect of that is that they help us to stay safe, they help us to find community, and most importantly, subconsciously, it aids us in what we perceive to be avoiding rejection. But the thing is over time, and especially as we become young adults and adults, they could become more of like an imprisonment. So when we lock ourselves into any form of an identity, we block the evolution that our beings want to go through, right? Because the thing is we have infinite possibilities of who we can be and how we can change over time and how we can grow. But if we box ourselves in with these beliefs about ourselves and these boxes, that in itself will stop us from doing that, at least to our full potential. So the bottom line here is you're not the labels that people give you or that you give yourself. You're not the story that you believe from traumatic things that have happened to you. You're most certainly not just who you are. You are who you choose to be moment by moment. And I think this is something that a lot of people really don't understand. And it's something that's been really kind of easy for me. Now there are things that I'm kind of like a stickler on, that I have these like limiting beliefs about myself, but my identity through the years has been very fluid in the sense of I'm very open to changing. I'm very open to growing and not putting myself in whatever box. Think about it this way, your cells, like your body cells, change and essentially replace themselves every 7 to 10 years. However, your thoughts and your beliefs and your perspectives and your values, they shift with, most importantly, self-awareness, with different experiences, with your environment, and most importantly, in my opinion, is being open-minded. You are not the same person you were a year ago. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago. So why is it that we feel so inclined to cling to this identity when we already know we're a different person than we were in the past? We are not a fixed character or a fixed personality. We are living, we are breathing, we are evolving. But we can't do those things if we're so stuck on this part of our identity. Let's just get straight to the tough part of this. When we say that's just who I am or another version of it, it's not because we're talking positively or because we love saying that. It's usually because we are trying to protect something. We might be, I don't know, scared to fail. We might be afraid that we're wrong. Maybe some people, like if you're watching this and you've been like scrutinized or punished for changing before, and so you're kind of afraid to do it again. Now again, a lot of this stuff happens subconsciously, so it might not even be something we're aware that we're doing, right? But the biggest thing that I want to make clear about this is it could be any of those things, but when I hear someone say that, usually I perceive it as that person not knowing themselves beyond those labels. And so I invite you to explore the idea of you actually not knowing yourself because you're constantly changing, because you're allowing yourself to evolve. You just have to stay open to the idea that you're not like a locked in character. And the thing is it's not like an easy process that doesn't come with some sort of pain. You're most likely going to go through some type of ego death, which has happened to me plenty of times. I think I have a video on that. If I do, I'll post it here. But what I mean by that is it's often like the death of who we were, or at least who we thought we were. The death of what made us feel safe. You know, something that made us feel safe in the past, for example, maybe blocking us from feeling safe now. So an example of that would be like, maybe you had some sort of toxic relationship in the past, and so you know, indoctrined this limiting belief about relationships that protected you in that past relationship, but it's creating problems in your new healthy relationship, right? So some of these beliefs and patterns and thoughts give us some sort of identity, and we have to be willing to fully let go of those labels and that past identity to be able to fully step into our new identity, because you can't have both. Like, how do you expect to create your dream life or live in your dream place or be with your dream person if you're not willing to let go of that? Like, say for example, you have a dream to live in another part of the country or another country or something like that, but you're not willing to let go of your hometown. Well, then you're never going to go there, right? You're not willing to let go of that past identity of, oh, well, this is where I grew up and this is where I live. And so because of that, you'll never get to that dream location of living because you won't allow yourself to step away from that past. So when you're going through these ego deaths and these changes, it can often feel like confusing and lonely, and you can feel misunderstood. I really went through this a lot when I started my spiritual awakening, and feeling like the closest people to me, like my friends and my family, like had no idea who I was anymore because I'd so drastically changed. But that does go away with time. You have to think about it this way. Like, so I was 26 when I went through my spiritual awakening initially. So think about it. You have this identity for 26 years or however old you are, whatever. And then you're pushing into this new identity. Of course, like, it's gonna feel that way for a little while you get used to it and the other people around you get used to it. So don't be afraid of that, because it is gonna feel a little disorienting for a while, but eventually it'll kind of lock in, and when you allow yourself to become that new version, every time you know how like sometimes you outgrow people, like friends or whoever, relationships, well, we also can outgrow ourselves. But when we do that and allow ourselves to outgrow that past version of ourselves and move into this new version, you get closer to the truth of who you actually are without all the labels that you've identified yourself by throughout your life. So let go of the idea that you have yourself figured out, Because if that's really the way that you're thinking, you won't grow. Nothing will change. And maybe little pieces here and there might change. You might get a little win here, a little win there. But if you're gripping, like death gripping that version of you so bad, and you're so unwilling to let go of those labels of yourself, you're never gonna fully embody the new version of you that you wanna be. What you release today or tomorrow in this moment allows the space for you to step into the better version of yourself. So you really have to sit down and think about, what are the parts of me that are holding me back and preventing me from stepping into this better version of myself. You know, and the thing is this isn't just like spiritual. As with a lot of spirituality, there's a lot of science that overlaps it and coincides with it. And the thing is our brains love predictability because it makes us feel safe. Like, it doesn't care about your happiness or this or that. All your brain and your body are focused on is safety. So familiar equals safe. So when you say, well, that's just who I am, your brain relaxes because it's familiar. There's no discomfort. There's no like neurological rewiring. But that's not growth. That is stagnation. That is staying the same. Growth is never comfortable, but you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And eventually, and I can attest to this, for the most part, you do it over and over and over and over again, it doesn't feel as uncomfortable anymore, because you accept the fact that you're always kind of like a river and changing and growing. If you want to create a better reality for yourself, you have to create new neural pathways. Now, I do have an entire video on that if you want to check it out right here. But this is feeling new emotions. It is thinking new thoughts. It is taking new actions. It is allowing uncertainty. It's the scary shit. People that watch my videos and explore my channel aren't here for comfort. You are here literally for growth. So if some of the stuff I'm saying is difficult for you to hear, good. It might be the kick in the ass you need. Your soul didn't decide to come onto this planet and live the life that you're living to stay the same. The whole point of a soul wanting to come onto Earth is to evolve and grow. You know, we're here to experience things and expand and express ourselves. And how do we do that? Through constant transformation. So instead of saying, that's just who I am, try to replace it with something else that might feel a little uncomfortable, but that's okay. You can say things like, I am allowed to change, or that's who I used to be, or I'm in the process of becoming someone new, or I'm experimenting with a different version of myself. See what I mean? So give yourself permission, okay, to unfollow old limiting beliefs, to outgrow yourself, to shift your identity, and to break your own damn rules. So you can kind of play with your own identity and ask yourself questions and just kind of soften breaking out of that identity is easier to do when you kind of ask yourself questions. So for example, like, well, what would my life be like if I wasn't shy? What if I didn't believe I was a people pleaser? What if I didn't care what other people thought about me? And just kind of like ask yourself these questions and explore what that would look like for you. And that in itself will start to create these new neuro pathways. You know, a lot of people in the spiritual community, and you know, myself included, talk about how the fact that like we're all kind of like avatars, right? So try out a new avatar, try out a new character, try out a new costume. Let go of needing everything to be permanent and the end all be all. Play around with things and see what fits and see what doesn't. I mean, if you go back through my YouTube channel, you'll see all of the shit that I've played with over the years because I post it here for you guys, right? And some of the stuff sticks and some of it doesn't. But that's the whole point of growing and evolving, is like not everything you dive into is gonna fit, and that's okay. It can later, and I've talked about that in other videos too. Like, just because something doesn't work for you right now doesn't mean it won't later, and vice versa. I hope you guys found value in this video. I love you guys so much. If you have any questions, as always, put it in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe so we can hang out again next week. I love you so much, and don't forget, be limitlessly yourself.